Okay, let's start with the wrist roll. The wrist roll is what's going to enable you to pull the club back parallel or even farther. It's real simple. Let's start with this. You place your forearm out in front of you like this and make a finger grip with your hand. So what that means is you're not making a fist. You're gripping your fingers just like this. So forearm out like this, finger grip, and roll that little knuckle on that hand towards your chin. So roll your wrist back like this, roll your wrist back like this. Let me show you another angle. It's real simple. Again, forearm out here, finger grip, little knuckle up like this, roll it towards your chin. Roll it this way, roll it like that. It's that simple. This move is what's, again, going to enable you to pull the club back to parallel or farther. Work on it, the wrist roll. Okay, so that was the wrist roll. Let me show you just a little move that you can, if you ever want to share this with your friends even, this is kind of cool. And it kind of tells you how your left hand is going to react. Take your little finger, so take your right hand, if you're right-handed, and stick your little finger out like this. So make a little bit of a fist and stick your finger out, just like that. Take your left hand and do the same. So now we got the little finger out on each hand like this, just like this. Take the right hand up like this, take the left hand down like this, and interlock those fingers like this. Cross it over, real simple, and go like that, and lock them. After you do that, just roll your hand down and act like your right hand has a club in it now, and you're just hooked into that finger like that. Now just pull that right side up and let the left hand and arm travel with it to this position, to that position. This is what your wrist is really doing. I'm trying to just show you, this is not how we grip the club, okay? This is just a technique. If someone says, oh my gosh, how do you get that club back? Finger, finger, interlock, lay it down, pull it back to that position, and it makes your left hand go naturally into the position it's going to go when you're making a golf swing. Just a little tip to share with your friends. Okay, let me teach you the grip now. We're going to begin with the top hand. Now, my top hand is my left hand because I'm right-handed. And if it's obviously the opposite for a left-handed person, be their right hand. Here we go. Everyone has what I call a skin fold. And it's in between your index finger and your thumb. And you can press on this piece of skin right here. And that's what I call the skin fold. Now, 90% of your shots, or 90+% of your shots, are going to be where the top of the grip fits into this skin fold. Okay? So what that means is this. Again, open your hand up, index finger, thumb, right there's that skin fold. I take the top of the grip, and we're going to use this little red piece right here to diagram for the top, to illustrate the top. And I'm going to place that into that skin fold like this. And then you roll your hand over from there. Okay, but let's try that one more time. Make sure we get this right. Skin folds in between an index finger and a thumb. Press it like this. Top of the grip goes into the fold. Okay? And then your hand lays over from there. Let's give you another angle. Let's take the shaft down here. When we place our top hand on the club, we come in at a 45-degree angle to put that into the skin fold. So we're not coming in at a 90 and grabbing it like this, and we're not coming in over the top like this. We're coming in at a 45-degree angle across the shaft like this, placing the top of the grip into the skin fold and then laying your hand over like this. Okay? At this time, I want to talk about and make clear that we don't grip it with our hands into the palm like this. No one could do that. I can't even pull the club back from this position. It's impossible. The reason this technique works is because we're creating a hinge with this left hand. Okay? Back to this. In the skin fold, fingers over, and grip it like that. Now let me show you what it looks like underneath here. This is what it looks like underneath. I am not gripping it with my palm. I'm gripping it with my fingers. In fact, you can see my little fingers almost coming off the club because I'm only using the top two fingers are almost creating the biggest part of the hinge, okay? So when I grab it, again, I want you to really see this. These two fingers in your thumb are gripping the club more than the two lower ones. They actually form two pieces here. The top, or these two knuckles form a top piece, and these two knuckles form a lower piece. So again, 45-degree angle across the club, grip it in your fingers, and then lay your thumb over your index finger. Okay. One more time. Crossed it, grip it, top hand. That's what it looks like. So that's the way I grip the club. Now, I've given over 10,000 lessons, and I've seen through those lessons all different kind of styles of people gripping the club, okay? I know what works for me, though I see some very, very good players that grip it a little bit differently. So I want to address that right now. Back to the skin fold in the top of the grip going in there. There are people out there right now that are very successful with this that are gripping it where it's under the skin fold, the top of the grip, and they're laying their hand over from there. Okay? So it looks more like this. So instead of going in the skin fold and around, they're going under the skin fold and a little more over the top. That's the way they grip it. Now, if that works for you, go ahead and do it. If that makes sense to you, go ahead and do it. I can't do that, but I know it works for other people. So again, I'm in the skin fold. Some people go under a little bit and then grip it like that, and it works for them. So that's another way. I just wanted to throw that out there. It's not something that I personally use, but it absolutely can work. And then let's talk about one more thing. Let's talk about choking down on the club. Now, there are going to be times around the golf course, obviously, you need to choke down on the club. Me, myself, I have no problem getting down here and just doing the same exact grip, but grabbing it here and rolling my hand over. I have no problem with gripping it like this and bringing it back. No problem whatsoever. So when you get to that place where you need to choke down, maybe you're around a green and you need to do a chip or something, choking down is no problem, okay? So 95+% of the shots that you make on a course are where I have it in the skin fold or where somebody else has it just underneath. Maybe 5% or less are where you choke down. It's that simple. So let's talk about what your lower hand is doing now. We know the top hand comes across at this angle. You give it a grip. You have two sections here now. You see that this curves? Let this all curve as well. Be comfortable. Don't try to make your arm stiff at this time either. Let it bend. Be comfortable here. So, comes in, give it a grip, lay it over. I have two sections. Top two fingers form one section, bottom two fingers form the other. On your right hand or your lower hand, I want to break it into 4 pieces. So I'll make it like a pie. We'll cut it down the middle and then this way. This quarter right here, we want to lay over these 2 fingers. So it looks like this, just like that. So we get the grip, we lay it over, these 2 are sticking out. You take that section, lay it over those 2, and then grab your club like this. Now at this time, we're grabbing it on our fingers. You can see that. It's in my fingers. It's not where I'm grabbing it with my palm or my hand. I'm grabbing it in my fingers. In fact, at this time, my little fingers are almost interacting like this, where they're matching up. So that it looks like that, literally, where they're matching up. We're not interlocking or anything, but they're matching up on the club. One more time. Grip it, 45-degree angle, over the top, 2 sections. This quarter goes over that section and then grip the club like that. And again, this is what it looks like underneath, in your fingers, okay? At this time also, when you're gripping it, you should be forming a V right here with your hand. So this V should be facing you. You shouldn't be over this way too much or back this way too much. A neutral grip is going to be right here and where you see that V facing you. That's what your lower hand does. That's the grip. Make sure you get that right. Watch this video as often as you have to get it right, but make sure you get it right and we'll move forward. Okay, now you know your grip. Now let's talk about a low, slow swing. Something to get you acclimated to this grip. That's what this does. So I work with a 7-iron. Grab a 7-iron out of your bag, bring it in the living room, your office, wherever you want, go outside, whatever you want to do. But we're just going to do a little short swing to get you acclimated to the technique. Again, we know the grip. Let's get it correct here. We get the grip. I put my feet together for this one and place the club head at the back of my right foot over here. So on this side a little bit. My hands are slightly pressed forward and I get my grip. What I want to do at this time is get comfortable and I want to roll the toe up to this position. Okay, so you remember the wrist roll. Remember the wrist roll, don't forget the wrist roll. The wrist roll will roll up to this position right here. Let me show you another angle. Right here. We're going to take the club head, face it down, put your feet together, club head's back here, roll it up to this position where the toe is open. Now, at the back of your swing, it's coming up to equal with your heel, we'll say. So it comes up to here, this position. It doesn't come out here, and it doesn't come way back. It comes to the back of your heel right here. Okay, that's the backswing of it. This is what it looks like coming through. Now we want to take that club from back here and just throw it down, turn your hands over, bring it back to address, so back to square, and then toe up into this position. Okay, did you get that? Let's do that one more time. I have my grip, my feet are together, the club head is the back of this foot over here. I roll my toe up to this position. When I come down, I want to return to that address, meaning I want to come back to this. I don't want to come back to this or to my hands going this way. I want to return to this position. So toe up, return to this position, and then when we finish, we're going to go toe up this way. It's another angle right here. So it goes toe up, toe down, turning them over to this position, and then toe up to this position. One more time. Toe up, down through, toe up to this position. Okay? It's that simple. Now, when we do this, we want to just take little, small, controlled swings. So it looks like this. Here, toe up, through in here, toe up, through in here, toe up, through in here. And I did that consecutively because I want to feel what it feels like. I don't want to do one and then stop. I want to do a few. So do this in reps. Do maybe 5, 6 at a time, and do maybe 400, 500, 600 of these for real, because it's just going to help you get acclimated to the technique. That's cutting the grass, I call it, in a low, slow, controlled form. Let's move forward. Let's talk about hand pressure. You know, every shot is different, and the hand pressure varies from shot to shot as well. When you're learning this though, and when you're going to make almost every shot, it's kind of close. I like to grip the club mostly with, again, my top 2 fingers, the index finger, the second finger, and the thumb, and the others are kind of taking a ride on the top hand. So I kind of grip it just enough to hold it in control, where I don't let it get out of control. It doesn't get loose or out of control, but it's definitely, I am not over gripping this club. It's medium to light, I would call it. So medium to light on the top hand. Lower hand, by laying it in here, we're trying to create one piece, so again, they work together. So I would say it's equal with your lower hand. So your top hand is, again, medium light. Lower hand's medium light, but at the point of impact. So when I'm pulling the club back and coming down and actually making impact, at that moment I give it just a little bit extra with my right hand. So just a little nudge, because in my opinion, this is a right side, or if you're right-handed or left-handed, it's left side, but it's a right side dominant swing, meaning that in baseball, you use your right side. In bowling, right side. Billiards, just name everything. Basketball, you use that side. So that when I'm gripping the club, I'm making a hinge with my left. I'm reaching down here. I have equal pressures, but by the time I come down to make that contact with that ball, I give a little extra with that right. That's your hand pressure. Now let's talk about the grips on your club. Everyone likes a different grip, I understand that. With this technique, tackiness is a key. Tackiness is very important because you don't want the club slipping around your hand. So a tacky grip is what I look for. There's a number of brands out there right now. Use what works for you is what I would suggest. I would also suggest that whenever I play golf, I always use a glove. Whenever I practice, I use a glove. Once in a rare occasion, if I'm chipping, I'll go gloveless. If it's a real short chip like a putt, I'll go gloveless. But most of the time, use a glove. I like to use, again, a tacky glove. So, and a glove that fits firm on your hand. So I'm putting this on to show you because I want you to know that my hands are pretty big, and I use a standard large glove, and it stays nice and taut for me, and that's what I want. With my taut, good glove, and with my tacky grips, they make a nice, they form a nice grip onto the club so that I don't lose control. And it's very important that we don't lose control. So back to the grips. Grips I use are standard, but tacky. I strongly suggest that you don't use oversized grips unless your hands are absolutely outrageously large, because you don't need them. My hands are big and I use a standard grip, but it's tacky with a tacky glove to make good contact with the club and not lose control. Very important. So let me show you now how I address the ball. With almost every shot, I address it the same way, almost. So let's work with that. Let's start with your feet. I like to take my feet and widen my stance to just outside of the width of my shoulders. So I'm not too close in here, and I'm certainly not wide out here. I'm just beyond the width of my shoulders, or even with my shoulders. I like to keep my shoulders as level with the ground as I can. Now, the right side is always going to be a little bit lower, but feeling like I'm relatively level, okay? Again, I play the ball in the middle of my stance, so you get your shoes just out your shoulders width. I like to bend my knees and get comfortable, and then you get your club. When you get your club, again, middle of the stance is where I'm playing it, I like to put the club behind the ball and slightly press the shaft forward of the ball. So it looks like this. Get my grip and then slightly press forward here. I don't like my hands behind, and I certainly don't want an overpress. We just want to, again, ball's in the middle of the stance, get your shoes just out your shoulders width, get your grip, lay your club down behind the ball, and then slightly press your hands forward like that. Now at this time, it looks like the club face is going to be open to you, meaning that I don't want to close it or have a hooded look. So what I'm saying here is that your club face, rather than being, and we'll look at this angle right here, rather than being closed like this or too open like this, I have it just slightly open like that. Get your grip over the ball here and then slightly press forward. That's what that looks like. So that's how I address the ball. It's almost the same way with every club. Play the ball in the middle of your stance. Get your shoes out here just about shoulders width. Get comfortable with your knees. Bend those knees and get comfortable. Nothing's really just rigid and straight. Put the club behind the ball, slightly press forward, and you're ready to pull the trigger. That's how I address the ball. Let me explain now what your right side is doing in your backswing. This is kind of important, so really pay attention to this one. Again, we're addressed where our shoes are just out the side, the shoulders width. The ball's in the middle of the stance. I want you to take your left hand and place it behind your back like this. Let's get rid of the left hand. And let's take your right hand and let's lay your hand down in front of you like this and press it to here just like this in front of you. And act like you have a club in it. So it kind of looks like this. So we have a club in our hand. I want to pull my right hand at this time up to this position. Now I've created a 90-degree right here. And that's the position we want to be in. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, that's too high-handed. High-handed is really good in a golf swing. Let's do that again. Over the ball, you get your hand like this, you press it like this. So you're pressing forward and you pull it up to this position. Now when I say this position, I'm behind my right ear over here. Let's look at it from this angle a little bit right here. I'm going to pull it up to this position right here. So it looks like this, just like that. Now when I pull it back, I'm not pulling outside over here, and I'm not pulling way inside here. I'm just going to go ahead and get comfortable here again and pull up to this position right here. One more time. Right here. That's what your right side is going to do in this swing. We don't want to be where we're wavering from that. We want to get this down. You really want to get this down, so practice this. One more time here. Hands here, press like this, up to this position, up to this position, just like that. That's what your right side's going to do. Okay, now I want to show you a coordination exercise I came up with that really helps you. So practice this one. Let's begin. It starts like this. Again, we placed our right hand and we learned the right side move, right? It's where I put your hand behind your back, we went to here, we pulled up to this position. Now we're going to incorporate your left hand as well. And what it looks like is this. Get your stance again. Shoes are just outside your shoulders width. We're gonna act like the ball's in the middle of our stance. I wanna take my right hand and place it just like it was before, right in front of you here, and turn it this way though. Turn your hand out like this so the palm is facing away from you. So it's hand down here, turn your palm up like this. Now take your left hand. Take your left arm, bring it across and bend it like this, bend it at the elbow. Place it just over the top of your right hand and try to keep the hands in the same angle. So again, here, hand open here, left hand comes in, arm is bent and is like this. Now I want to take from this position and I want to pull it up to that right side move position. So it looks like this. Let's try that again. Hand here, pull it up to this position. At this time, I want you to notice that there's an A forming with both of my elbows in my backswing. And that means it looks like this. I'm pulling my hands up to this position. Do you see right here? I'm creating an A. And I'll do it one more time so you can see it. Up to this position right here. This is behind my right ear where it was with the right side move. And my left hand is coming up with it and forming a perfect A that my elbows are even or level with the ground. It's very important because we don't want to be here and we don't want to be around here. We want to pull up to this position right here. And you try to maintain your hands maybe 6 to 8 inches apart when you're doing this. Don't let them separate. Pull them up just like that. Now, on the way down, it's important that we create and swing through what's called the swing plane. And what that means is with a swing plane, it means that it travels, your swing travels through this circle. And the best way to illustrate that is I'm gonna go like this. And you can see this club swinging around like this and it stays in that same circle like that. That's a swing plane. So when we're practicing this coordination exercise, what I wanna do is be careful to stay in the swing plane. So hand is here again, left hand is here. Pull it up to this position here. When you come down, you turn your hands over like this. So you turn them over like this, and you finish up here. Another angle, one more time. Hands here, pull up to this position here. When you come down, I want you to come down through like this, turning your hands over to this position, and then up the line, or up the swing plane. One more time here. Your stance, get your hands over the top, up here, down through and up the line. Up here, down through and up the line. Now look at on this side. I have that A created on this side where these two elbows are level with the ground, or even with the ground. So, back up here, down this imaginary swing plane here, and then up this line, just like that. There's another thing that you can do at this time. You can actually take your chin and use your shoulders to make sure you're in the same position. Meaning this, when I get to here, my chin is going to be buried into this left shoulder. So when I'm back here, chin's buried in the left shoulder. When I come through up to here, the chin is buried in my right shoulder. So did you see that? One more. Buried in the shoulder, through, buried in the shoulder. That maintains your head, that tells you you're doing the right thing. So this is a coordination exercise. I just want you to learn it here, go through the swing plane. Go up here, through the swing plane, go up here, through the swing plane. Do maybe 3, 4 of those like that, and then do reps of them so that you kind of get used to it. But this is an exercise that will help you and enable you to hit better golf shots. Let's talk about the swing plane now. Swing plane is really important that we stay in it. I see a lot of people turn at their hips a lot with their golf swing, and I don't do that a lot. I use more of a lateral move, meaning that I don't do a lot of twisting and turning. I do a lot of this where I just kind of take it back to here and then fire through it like this, because I believe in firing down the line. It makes a lot of sense to me. Here's a swing plane. Let's talk about when you address the ball again. If you want to address the ball and hit the ball this way, you try to kind of take your toes toward the target. So you try to address the ball where you're lining up your toes with the target. And it's not going to work that way for everyone because everyone's a little different. Some people like an open stance, some people like a closed stance. And it really doesn't matter. But what matters is where, when you're coming through the ball, where that swing plane is. Because that's what's going to make the ball go straight and far. Okay, so I'm gonna, just for illustration, I'm gonna use my toes in this line and say that that's my target line. An open stance would be where you're used to doing this a little bit, and a closed stance would be where you're closing your stance a bit. But just for everyone's sake, I'm gonna go ahead and just say that this is my target line, and I'm gonna line my toes up with my target line. When I line that up, this is the swing plane. I like to swing inside out about 15 degrees or so. And what that's going to do is going to produce a slight draw on the ball. Okay? I don't like to cut the ball. In fact, I can barely cut the ball, but I like it straight or a slight draw, something I can count on. So back to this. We address the target line with our toes so that it's lined up like that. And we see the swing plane is right here. And again, what that means is this club head, or this club, should travel through the swing plane up here and then up to this position. Up here and then up to this position. That's what it looks like. So let's make a swing. Toes are square to the target line. I see about a 15-degree inside out move there for the swing plane. You get your grip. And remember earlier we talked about the club not being closed too much or open too much? It was just slightly open looking. Well, that's because it was open that 15 degrees to get square to my swing plane. Did you get that? So I'm not going to get on this swing plane, line up my toes, and then close the face down like this to where I'm going to hit it over here. I'm going to swing and line up that club head through that swing plane. Let's do that again. Toes are lined up with the target. Get your club down. You're playing the ball in the middle of the stance, and you looks like it's slightly open, but it's really square to the swing plane. You get your grip. You're over the ball. You get comfortable. You pull the club up the swing plane like this, up to this position, and you come down and fire down through and up to this position. Remember the A's. So we're not going where we're going to torque around and go like this. We're not going to swing around our hips. And we're certainly not going to go up here and swing out like this. We're going to try to maintain and stay in the swing plane. So this is what it looks like, guys. Just like this. Up here, down through here, up here, down through there, up here, down through there. Maintaining that club head and that shaft through the swing plane. So it's very important to do that. Try not to do a lot of hip twisting. Try to do more of a lateral move again, where you're kind of just taking your body weight, bringing it back away from the target, and then down through and up to the target. That's how I address the ball. That's how you swing through the ball, staying in the correct swing plane. Practice that one. Okay, now I want to teach you an exercise I call cutting the grass. This cutting the grass exercise is absolutely the key to success with this technique. I mean to tell you there is nothing that's going to teach you quicker or be more impactful in your swing than this cutting the grass. Starts like this. Remember at the beginning we started with a low, slow swing, nice and low and slow. Well, we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to be on grass. So find yourself a driving range, a park, your backyard, but somewhere where you can make a divot, and bring a 7-iron with you and a glove. That's all you need. 7-iron glove and a piece of grass. Go out to the grass. Put your feet together just like we did before, and we're going to take a nice little swing, nice little slow controlled swing. Get your grip, play it at the back of your stance again, and we'll roll that toe up and just come through and make a little divot like that. And we'll do it again. And then we'll do it again, and you'll do it again, and you'll do it again. Just like that. Now remember earlier I talked about your chin going into your shoulders. Cutting the grass, it's the same thing. You want your chin to get into those shoulders. So back to this again. Feet are together. Get your spot. You want to create a little divot here. When you're making this swing, this low and slow swing, watch where my chin is, right here, into that shoulder. And then when I follow through, same thing. So our head's not moving all around. Let me give you another angle here. Here, here, just like this, up, down through here, up, down through here, up, down through here, up, and down through there. Now I'd like you to do about 10 reps.
So 10 swings like this. 10 times you swing through it like this, hitting the same spot over and over and over. And what you're trying to do is create a nice square long divot at this time. That long divot is going to become a training device for you, meaning that it's a slot that you actually drop into every time. And what we're trying to do here is get muscle memory, so that only makes sense. So first time, feet together, back here, 10 swings, maybe take about a 30-second break, 10 more, another break, 10 more. So that's 3 reps of 10 swings, low and slow. Same thing, we'll put our feet together, and now we're gonna go with a fuller swing. Use that same divot. Now we have a divot, set the club in the divot, pull it up, higher swing, through the ball. Higher swing, through the ball, just like this. Burying that chin into those shoulders, just like this. Finishing high, handed up here. Finishing high, handed up there. Again, about 10 swings, and let's do 3 more reps, just like you did the first time. Okay, so our feet together, we start low and slow, and then we progress into a fuller swing. Now, after you've done that, take a little bit of a break, come back to it, and let's open up our stance now. Now our stance is open, and we're gonna take a low swing again. So it looks like this. Get in that divot, slightly press forward, up here, like this, through it. Up here, through it. Up here, through it, up here, through it, and you do about 10 swings again. Staying in that slot. The whole goal is to get that club head to travel back to square at impact and through and up through that divot. We'll go from there to a full swing. Set it back in that divot, get to a full swing. Up here, down here. Up here, down here, up here, down here, up here, down there. Now naturally, if your hands come off the club or your grip's not correct, re-grip it and start again. But we'll do 10 swings through here, about 3 reps again. I suggest that you go out and do this for a couple weeks. I like to do it probably 2 or 3 times a day myself. Do it for a couple weeks. It's going to advance you. You're going to learn the technique way faster. You're going to be successful way quicker. I'll see you on the course.